Welcome to Passport Mommy. I'm your host, Michelle Jerson. This show is for anyone raising little humans. We feature experts with tips and advice to enrich the lives of our children. Mom and dad entrepreneurs tell us their inspiring stories. Learn about products that could make both you and your child's life easier and more fun. And of course, fellow parents discuss and laugh about what's happening in their child's world. Motherhood is a journey. Thanks for joining me on mine. I hope you had a great week. I hope you're staying healthy, staying well, and as stress-free as you can during this time. You know, each week I try to fill my show with so much great content from my guests for you that I don't have the opportunity to just say thank you. And so today I really wanted to do that. I wanted to thank you from the bottom of my heart, really, for listening each week to this show, whether it's around the country on the radio dial or on your podcasting platform. I love the feedback that I get through emails to my website, which is passportmommy.com. If you want to reach out, it's Michelle at passportmommy.com. And comments people leave when they leave a review on my podcast. And if you haven't done so already, if you wouldn't mind just taking a quick minute to review the podcast, I would greatly appreciate it. You can either just leave a star rating, hopefully 5, or a rating and a comment. And in return for all of this, I want to offer you 25% off the entire Garden of Life website of vitamins, minerals, and supplements. If you've been listening to the show, I've been speaking with Amberlynn Vital, an educator with Garden of Life, for the past few weeks, all about our health, immunity, beauty hacks, hacks for our husband's health, and our aging parents. And now we're approaching the holidays, and it's even more important to keep your stress in check, your energy up, and the calorie intake down. So just go to gardenoflife.com for great tips, recipes, and to check out their full line of products. And when you check out, just add promo code PassportMommy for 25% off. That's PassportMommy, all lowercase, all one word, for 25% off. That's gardenoflife.com, promo code PassportMommy for 25% off your entire order to their already discounted prices on their website. I'm telling you, you will love their products. As a mom and wife, I have given these products to my entire family, and you can feel free to email me for my personal recommendations or just listen to the previous shows at passportmommy.com or on your favorite podcasting platform. Now, today, I am so excited because not only do we have Amberlynn Vital coming up later in the show with Garden of Life, right now I have with me Beth Stiller. She is the CEO of Massage Envy. She became the CEO this past November. She is the first female leader of the brand, the largest provider of therapeutic massage and skincare services in the U.S. collectively across its nearly 1,100 franchise locations in 49 states. Beth, thank you so much for being here.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me, Michelle.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, congratulations on the new position. That's huge. And I'm so happy to hear that Massage Envy is run by a woman, because who better to know what we need as a woman with our stress, and especially as a mother, all of the stress that we deal with on a daily basis.
I'll tell you, Michelle, it has been just an honor to lead this organization after 18 years. To have the first female CEO is kind of a big deal. And considering 75% of all of our members and guests are females, it just seemed to make sense.
Yes, absolutely. And so why do you think so many people right now, I feel, are craving body treatments? Because I know for myself, I was thrilled to hear when my local massage therapist reopened, and I've had Massage Envy on my brain for quite a while because I spoke with somebody from Massage Envy a few months ago, and I said, I have to get in there. So I was thrilled to hear that spas are reopening now. So tell me, what are people thinking right now, and why are we craving this so badly?
Yeah, it is a crazy time, and that's an understatement. And the amount of stress that this entire nation is under is just unprecedented, right? You can take a look at so many studies that talk about how people are feeling and how the stress that they're undergoing is affecting their mental and their physical well-being. In fact, 83%, a recent study showed 83% of people are saying that they are feeling really stressed about the future. And the way people carry that stress, right, tends to translate not only into their mental well-being, but their physical well-being as well. So therapeutic massage is such an important part of a wellness routine, and getting in to relieve that stress that gets carried in your muscles and joints is really, really important. So it's amazing to see the flood of consumers and our members that came back as our doors reopened over the last few months. People were missing their regular monthly massage, and our therapists and estheticians were thrilled to welcome them back into locations to provide that much-needed relief.
So I know as spas reopened, a lot of what's on people's mind is it safe to go back? Is it okay? What are the procedures in place to make sure that we can all feel comfortable? Because the last thing we want is to feel stressed when we're there that we have to worry about, is this place clean? So what is Massage Envy doing to ensure this?
Absolutely. Well, I mean, Massage Envy's always had really stringent sanitation and safety protocols that our locations are required to follow. But of course, as COVID arrived on the scene, it was really important for us to think about how we were going to take that to the next level and make sure that not only members and guests who come in for services, but the therapists and estheticians that work in the locations were going to feel safe. So we actually partnered with a third party, an internationally recognized environmental consulting firm called CTEH, and brought them in to do a front-to-back review of all of the protocols in locations. And we ended up updating our protocols and putting some new things in place. So if you were to go into locations right now, the first thing to know is everybody in that location has been trained on infection control and prevention. You'll see everybody in the location, including the therapist in the room during your service, wearing a mask. And of course, all surfaces that are touched are disinfected and cleaned in between services. And then there's some of the things that you'll see. Our waiting room, for example, our tranquility room or our lobby, your wait time has now been moved to your car. So we want to make sure that not only are we keeping everything spotless in locations and disinfected, but we're keeping that social distancing. So some of the operational changes you'll notice as you go into locations as well.
Terrific. And so what are some early indicators that these are actually working? How can we feel confident that this is making us safe?
Yeah, we've had, since we've reopened, we've had over 4 million services in our locations. And for me, what's most important to understand that it's working is what we hear back from our therapists, the estheticians, and most importantly, the folks that are coming into locations for services. And the response has been overwhelming. Members and guests who come into locations are talking about how thrilled they are to be back to their regular routines and how they felt incredibly cared for and safe through that experience.
That's really terrific to hear. So I have to ask you, as the first woman CEO, what has it been like running Massage Envy?
Well, it's not what I had expected for my first 10 months in the role. I can tell you that. I took over just at the end of November last year, and obviously just a few short months afterwards, COVID-19 arrived on the scene. But I think it was the perfect time for me to take over the chair. One of our values as an organization is empathy, and being an authentic leader that can understand, listen, and display empathy, I think has been really, really important. And I think it's something that comes naturally to lots of female leaders. And at a time like this, where people really do need a heck of a lot of empathy and compassion, I think it's been a leadership skill that is underappreciated and needs to be overexercised right now.
Yeah.
I think the other thing is, I would say most people would say women are pretty darn good at multitasking and juggling lots of things. Having flexibility, being really nimble, and being able to multitask in a time like this when change is constant has been really, really important.
Absolutely. And I don't know if you can hear my little guys in the background, but when you talk about multitasking, that's for sure. And I have to ask you, how have you been able to balance your professional and your family life, especially during a time like this?
Well, I won't lie. There's been a few mornings where those teenage boys that I was mentioning earlier missed their alarms, didn't get up, and I completely missed the mark. So it's successful at the juggle. But you know what? There's been a silver lining to all of this, and I tend to be a pretty optimistic person. Being a female with a pretty demanding career over the last number of years, I've missed a lot, right? And I'm sure you appreciate that too. I haven't been there for all the breakfasts and algebra meltdowns and all of the things that moms have to deal with.
Right.
So, you know what? Being at home a little bit more with my family has actually been the silver lining of all of this. So it's allowed me to get some of that time back.
That's terrific. Yeah, I think a lot of times, as stressful as it is and as crazy as it is right now, I feel like people are a little more understanding. So it is nice that we've been able to be home with our families. So I want to hop back to Massage Envy because you are famous for your massages, but I know you also offer a bunch of other services. What else do you offer?
We do, and that's the beauty of the membership model is for 1 monthly fee, you've got access to either a great therapeutic massage or one of our many skincare services or assisted stretching, which is something we launched 3 years ago, which we call it the trifecta. You get a stretch followed by a massage and a rapid tension relief. Those three services together is really a magical 60 or 90 minutes that I think everybody would love right now.
Absolutely. That sounds amazing. I'm going to go online and find the Massage Envy near me ASAP. What is the website? Where can people go?
Yeah, of course. It's www.massageenvy.com, and you'll see a nice purple button that just helps you find a location close to you. There's one in almost every community with 1,150 across the country.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Beth Stiller. I really appreciate you taking the time today.
It is my pleasure. Have a great day.
So a lot of us feel that the U.S. isn't doing enough testing to control COVID-19. And researchers at Harvard Global Health Institute say we need 4.4 million tests per day to reach just a basic level of proactive testing. And far more, 14 million is necessary to safely reopen the economy. Yet we've never managed to perform more than 1 million per day. So today I have with me Sean Slavensky. He is the CEO of BioIQ to talk to us more about BioIQ's contribution and how they are helping bring up this number. Hello, Sean. Thanks so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. It reminds me a lot of being in New York City in a rainstorm where you were hailing a yellow taxi cab and they were all taken. So you're standing there kind of dripping wet going, surely there has to be more taxis out there. And I think that's what happened to us with COVID and the current diagnostic and laboratory industry. They all kind of thought they had enough cars and drivers to handle any situation. And then lo and behold, this pandemic hits us and we're all kind of standing there in the rain going, where's my ride? Or in this case, where's my test? And so I just don't think they planned ahead. I think we probably got a little bit complacent on how ready we would be for any type of an emergency. And it was obvious the supply chain, manufacturing, et cetera, in the laboratory space just was not ready for that like they thought they were. So here we are.
Right. Here we are. Right. And you are a healthcare industry innovator with 30 years of success. I mean, I can go on and on about your background. You used to be former senior vice president and president of Walmart Health, and now you're with BioIQ, which is such an amazing company. Tell me what BioIQ is doing to address these problems.
Yeah, well, thanks for asking. When I hear someone say 30 years, I go, wow, I'm getting pretty old and the gray hair is showing it, but I guess that gives you the right to have lived enough life to know, kind of see things before and know what to do now. When the pandemic first happened and we started seeing the shortfall in the diagnostic space, I'd been working with this little company called BioIQ, this little company that does big things. And back to the yellow taxi cab analogy, you can think of BioIQ as more like Uber. We have networks of laboratories across the country and testing and test supplies. And what we do when you're standing there in the rain in New York City waiting for a yellow taxi cab and you can't find one, well, just hit your Uber button. Well, in this case, it's just hit your BioIQ button. We can flex the supply chain across the country as hotspots pop up so that everyone can get a test if they need it. And probably the most important thing other than that is getting the results back quickly enough that it's meaningful in your life to know what you should do or not do.
Right.
And I think that's one of the bigger issues in the industry right now and that BioIQ is trying to solve, not just not having enough tests available. It's the tests that mostly are available. We're not getting results back for 2, 3, 4, 5 days sometimes. And by then, a lot of time has passed, and you might as well not have taken it in the first place. So quickly turnaround time is really important.
Absolutely. So how many tests a day can BioIQ conduct, and what's the turnaround time?
So we built a capacity where we can do up to 500,000 tests a day, and that capacity continues to grow literally on a weekly basis. And so far, knock on wood, our turnaround time has been in that 24 to 48-hour turnaround time range. You'll occasionally get a little bit longer here and there, but by and large, we've worked really hard to make sure that we can get that turnaround time quickly enough so all the moms and dads out there can make a decision, do I go back into the office or not? Do I send my kid to school or not? And do that quickly so you can get back to your normal life, or as normal as you can be these days.
And I can appreciate that. And even something like going to visit relatives. I know my parents say, don't come visit until you get a rapid test done, until you get those results. And, and I understand where they're coming from. At the same time, I have a 3 and a 1-year-old. We're not doing anything. We don't go anywhere. But I can appreciate that. And especially as the holidays get closer, I think people should definitely go get that test done before they get together with their families.
I agree with you. It's a prudent thing to do.
Yes. So does BioIQ do any other tests besides COVID?
We do. Actually, the business itself has been around for 15 years, and it does all your standard routine testing from, glucose and A1C diabetes testing to heart profile panels and general blood work. And we do that for a lot of the largest insurers in the country and their Medicare base of clients. So we're a diagnostic group that just does it better, faster, and less expensively. But when COVID hit, we retooled our network and our testing supplies so that we could rise to the challenge.
Terrific. And so as we move forward, again, what role will testing play in combating COVID-19?
Other than a viable vaccine that people are willing to take and have access to, testing's probably the only other thing that we can do to know and control where the spikes are going to happen and to bring the disease back in order. Other than literally sitting in your house and hunkering down like a caveman or woman, which is what we've been doing for about 9 months now, if you don't know if you have it or not, there's no other way to protect yourself and your family. So I think testing is the key right now until there's a viable vaccine that is spread throughout the country largely enough that there's enough immunity to control this.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Sean Slavenski. Where can we go for more information?
Sure. Our website, BioIQ. It's BIOIQ.com.
Perfect. And thank you. I'm Michelle Jerson, the Passport Mommy. Welcome back to our ongoing series, From Ordinary to Extraordinary, How Moms Impact a Family's Health. And we all know how much we impact our family's health, but what about our own health? And today I have with me Amberlynn Vital. She has been with us the last few weeks, and she's so full of information. She's an educator for Garden of Life. Amber, I have so enjoyed speaking with you just about learning how to enhance our kids' immunity, our husband's health, and now we're talking about us. We get to finally take time for us as moms.
It's been a pleasure. It's been so fun.
Thank you. So what can we do? We were talking last week about enhancing our beauty, both inside and out. And you had mentioned things like collagen and fats. Tell us more.
Yeah, we were talking about collagen peptides, the glycine, the glutamine, the proline, the hydroxyproline in there, and how they help us. Vitamin C is so important. If you have magnesium as a part of that, you can make your hyaluronic acid, which we all know is such a beauty ingredient, but it's got to go inside. You can't just pat it on the outside.
Right.
And today I'd like to get in a little bit more into the antioxidants that we eat and that we supplement, the fats that we eat and that we supplement. And then, our lifestyle is so important. So are we sleeping? Are we managing our stress? And how can we do that if we're not? Because those are two things you can't just say, go to sleep. You're not sleeping enough. Stop stressing. It's giving you wrinkles. You just can't make it happen. You need help.
Yeah, it's true. And we don't control when our children wake up in the middle of the night. I'd like to think that I have control over resetting his clock, but I really don't. My son decides to wake up at 6 a.m. and he's up and I'm pulled out of bed. And most days I could then stay up, but a lot of days I didn't go to bed until 2 a.m. So it's not really happening. So yeah. Yeah,
absolutely. So we started to talk about fats, and I think we kind of settled on this. If you can squeeze it and oil comes out of it, you can eat it, that the walnuts, the pecans. So your nuts, your seeds, avocados, coconuts, olives, fish, butter, these are all things that we get fat from easily. Don't eat fat from things that you don't eat, like cottonseed or rapeseed, which is canola. Right. Corn, it's not oily. Soybean is not oily. So why have that as a source of fat? When you have to work so hard and do so many things to it to produce that fat. So those are healthy fats. It's very important that we have enough lipids or fats in our diet that they make it to our skin. And then they help form what's called a fatty acid barrier on the skin, very much like the gut lining. And that protects your skin from the elements, from dryness, from aging. A lot of the skin issues that a lot of people have, even our kids have, we have rising cases of eczema, psoriasis, dermatitis, acne, very much come back to that fatty acid metabolism, both that you're getting enough of it, that it's the right quality, and that it's getting where it needs to go in your body. You're actually digesting it. So, we have to have good digestion, of course. Yeah. So we talked about MCT oil, medium chain triglycerides from coconut especially, which doesn't take a lot of digesting and can passively diffuse into the bloodstream and get to your brain and get to your cells and get to your liver and get to your skin. Right. And we can really see that benefit in the skin. I know I did. I know when I started putting it in my coffee, I really noticed, wow, I could kind of take or leave the lotion today.
Yeah, which is nice.
It's been a lifetime thing for me. And so there's a lot of nutrients that we can take when we're getting our fats. If you have decided to start having a fat coffee or a fat tea in the morning, which is kind of a trend, but when that first came out, I thought back to the yak butter tea in India and in Tibet, and being from high country myself, it made sense. It seemed like a really good idea. It's not for everyone, right? But if you have dry skin, if you struggle with energy, getting fat in the morning instead of carbs is very beneficial for a lot of people. If your digestion can handle it, and it does give you a chance then to take some of your superfoods. So a lot of our brightly coloreds really are beneficial at the time that you're taking in fat. So the coffee is a polyphenol, tea is a polyphenol, an antioxidant, and they do well with fats. Your turmeric it's great at that time. These are all things that also help your skin. They're really beneficial. Antioxidants help to prevent premature aging. They help to prevent DNA damage from excessive exposure to sun and elements and pollution and all of that. So they're very protective. So if I had an ideal beauty regimen and money were no option, I'd be taking my collagen peptides probably twice a day, 10 to 12 grams. Okay. I'd be taking the vitamin C with that, biotin, silica, which you can get in combination products like our beauty collagen, or you can piece them together. Okay. I'd be taking my magnesium morning and night, and I'd be taking resveratrol. Resveratrol is a fabulous, it really probably mostly stays in the gut. Okay. It's pretty hard to get it in the bloodstream, studies have shown. It has great effect when you do, but in the gut, it works with your microbiome, and your gut helps everything else. Right. So resveratrol, which is in red grape skins, it's also in something called Japanese knotweed, and ours is fermented, so it's very easily digestible. Great addition to your skincare regimen. Vitamin K2, a great addition to your skincare regimen because it helps to pull calcium out of those age spots where they get sort of rough and then they just kind of grow. It helps to pull that calcium out and send it back to the bones. A very good fat soluble supplement. Vitamin A in a preformed, well, you don't want a synthetic, but you want it ready to go and bioavailable. The best source of that is cod liver oil. Okay. And so that's fabulous for skin. If you have kids with allergic skin issues, cod liver oil all the way. So these are all great additions to our regimens to get us back to our origins. Right. What did humans always eat? It's not hard to imagine. Right. What have we been doing the last 100 years? Really messing it up. But what have humans eaten for thousands of years? Let's just think about it, and try to get back to some of that.
Right. That's excellent advice. Now, you talk about the microbiome. This isn't exactly beauty on the outside, but a lot of women struggle with UTIs. What do you recommend for that? Just because I know you talked about the product just now that was fermented, and I know they say a lot of fermented food, probiotics. What in particular, because since I personally am a huge Garden of Life fan and pretty much my whole cupboard is made up of Garden of Life products, what could I take if I was struggling with that?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny because, in my formation, in my education, we did a lot about the somato-emotional healing, so body and mind. And we used to talk all the time about how recurring UTIs happen because, I hope I can say this on the air, you're pissed off.
Okay, well, so that might explain a few things.
Yeah. So that repressed anger and irritation irritates the urinary tract system, where we're supposed to let things go and purge them out. And so there is an emotional aspect of giving yourself time, resting, taking care of yourself. Are you setting your boundaries? Are you expressing yourself? And then we do have to look at what we can eat and what we're eating that's sugar makes it worse, obviously. Right. How do we get off sugar? Well, you change the taste buds of your system. Oh, here's an off topic. You actually have taste receptors in your uterus, in your ovaries, in your urinary tract system, in your gut, in your lungs. So when they taste sweetness, they express a whole different, set of compounds than when they taste bitterness. Right. Ayurvedic and Chinese medicine always talk about having all the tastes. And our diet in the US is very sweet and salty and a little bit sour. It doesn't have that bitter, that astringent, that pungency. So we're out of whack, we're out of balance. And we need to restore that balance. And so probiotics, and then we've talked about greens powders, are so good for changing what you crave. Right. Because you're putting in organisms that are beneficial. And a lot of them, our products all come with food. They come with their little brown bag lunch of prebiotic fibers. And then we encourage you to change your diet or supplement more prebiotics, like composting or fertilizing your garden. That will change ultimately what you crave and what you want to taste. And then you can get a handle on your sugar cravings. You can get a handle on your carbohydrate cravings, your salty potato chip or pretzels and chocolate cravings, because that is really what perpetuates these recurring issues, whether they're yeast infections or urinary tract infections or combinations of the two, because one always leads to the other. Right. And that just does make us not feel beautiful inside or out. And the side benefit is if you regularly take a probiotic or fermented food, so I'm not talking Yoplait, I'm not talking like conventional supermarket yogurt, fermented at home, or, buy it raw, something really good, or take probiotics and prebiotics. You will see that as your gut lining heals and is more productive of beneficial compounds, your skin will look better. It's the way to improve acne. Right. It's the way to improve moisture content and plumpness. It's the way to improve tone. There are even probiotic strains that are now shown to defend you against UVA rays, solar radiation. Really? Yes. Wow. It's crazy. So you are what you eat. We've said it. Yeah. But we start to see through modern scientific exploration all the ways that plays out. It blows my mind. So interesting. Yeah, it really is. It's amazing just how much food and what we consume just affects so much of our health. And, when I do get a UTI and I'm told antibiotics again, I'm like, oh, and it's like part of me wants to do everything I can not to take antibiotics because I just don't want to keep pumping my system with that. But it's like, I don't know if it's the type of thing that you just have to really work at it so you don't even get them versus once you get it, you're kind of doomed because it's really hard, I feel, to get rid of without antibiotics. It is. We have a probiotic called Urinary Tract Plus, and it has a cranberry formulation in it where they looked at the skin and the seeds and the juice and the pulp of the cranberry and determined which one kept those bacteria from sticking. Right. And lets them wash out. And then they kind of recombine those 4 parts to emphasize that part that's anti-adhesive. Yeah. And so it's been researched. That ingredient has been researched. Probiotics themselves, different strains have research for having bactericide effects where they are bacteria, but they produce substances that outcompete other bacteria. Right. And so we've put together combinations that are promoting urinary tract health is how we phrase it and make our label claims. So if you are someone who has a urinary tract infection a couple times a year, routinely or more, you'd want that to be your probiotic. Because the strains themselves are working on your gut. A lot of people think, what does my intestinal tract have to do with my urinary tract? They're in two different places. Well, not really.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of cross-contamination, cross-mixing. You know, we go swimming, we stay in our swimsuit all day. We just are built differently. We're more susceptible to this for so many reasons, not the least of which is hormonal changes.
Right.
Changes in the tissue down there as we age and we go into menopause. There's much more likelihood of the atrophy of that tissue and the changes in the microbial balance, acid production, the pH changes, and we're much more susceptible to this. And as we look at aging, we're very much more susceptible. So probiotics all day long.
Right.
You may not see in 2 weeks that it changes your skin, but you will see it. You will see it down the road. You know, people who glow from the inside out, they're eating healthy. That doesn't happen on McDonald's. It doesn't.
Exactly. I couldn't agree more. Amberlynn Vitale, thank you so much. We're talking about how to just preserve our beauty as a woman. And while we help our family with their health, where can people go just to check out some recipes and some of the supplements we've talked about?
Yep. Go to www.gardenoflife.com. You can look through the different product categories and see some of what we're talking about.
As you know, I'm a huge Garden of Life fan, and if you haven't tried their products yet, I want you to get on board too, because I know you will love them. And that's why I'm excited to offer 25% off anything on their website with the promo code PassportMommy. Just go to gardenoflife.com and type in the promo code PassportMommy at checkout, and you will receive 25% off your entire order. And as you've been enjoying Amber's advice and wisdom, I want to remind you that she works in the education department for Garden of Life. I have been using and recommending Garden of Life products for quite some time now, and I can honestly tell you that every conversation I've had with her on and off the air has confirmed for me that this company really goes above and beyond. They do not use synthetic, chemically made versions of vitamins and supplements that try to mimic the nutritional properties of food. Instead, they only use real, honest-to-goodness food. And the foods they use are the cleanest foods and most nutritionally dense foods possible because they are organic and non-GMO. So again, just go to the website gardenoflife.com and type in Passport Mommy for your 25% off. Amberlynn, thank you for being here. So we're talking about how we can keep ourselves beautiful inside and out. What else can we talk about? Because I feel like we just carry the burden of so much, like you were saying, our family's health, our emotional well-being, getting enough sleep, How do we ensure we get enough sleep?
How do we make sure? So let's talk about the average day of a woman who didn't get enough sleep last night. So we get up, we look in the mirror, we're like, oh, okay. So we pull out the concealer, pull out the blush, we make the eyes a little bit bigger so that we can, feel like we're actually wide awake, Our nervous system is wired, so our lips are twitching. So we put some, liner and lipstick on and just some perfume just so people don't notice, whatever. hiding it, right?
Right.
So how do we go back to the problem? How do we go back to sleeping well and long enough? So, and you may not get long enough. Long enough may not happen because of circumstance. You maybe would like to have a 9-hour stretch where you're in bed and getting enough sleep, but that just may not be possible for whatever reason. And so how do we improve the quality of our sleep? We definitely have some, I can call them sleep hacks, but they're really just employing the power of nature to support our body's nervous system, our immune system in being more balanced as we go to bed, and are good companions to proper sleep hygiene. So obviously, turn off the television, move it out of your bedroom, move the radio out of your bedroom, make sure your phone is on airplane mode. If you have to receive a call from someone, do not disturb, but allow certain calls to come through. You have to find a way to not have these invisible but real frequencies coming into your bedroom because they will disrupt your sleep. Even my kids noticed when we started turning off our main modem at night in the house so that all Wi-Fi signals were off. You can't control everyone else around you, but at least in our house, they were off. They noticed a difference in how they slept.
Interesting.
Pull the shades, get blockout shades, wear a mask, whatever you got to do.
Right.
And so then what can we take? Well, what do you not take? So I love wine. Mm-hmm. If I'm having a really good meal, 2 glasses of wine is not uncommon, but it can disrupt your sleep cycles. If you're relying upon that to go to sleep, you're going to be dehydrated. Dehydration is going to affect how you sleep. Your liver's working overtime. That's going to affect how you sleep. So some of the favorite things that we have at Garden of Life, we have a couple sleep products now. The original ones are herbals. We have a tablet that includes valerian, which you may be familiar with. Okay. And we have a spray that does not have the valerian if that's too heavy for some people. Mm-hmm. I love the spray. It has L-theanine in it, which is a derivative of green tea that is non-caffeinated. It helps your neurotransmitter balance, and it helps with taking that edge off, that spinning monkey mind that won't shut up at night, so that it shuts up and you can drift. With the lemon balm, you sort of can drift off to sleep. And it's just a spray. So your teeth are brushed, you're in bed, you read your book, and you're like, oh, I forgot my sleep stuff, but it's right there. And you just spray it. Nice. And that's it. And if you wake up in the night, again, you can just reach for it and spray it. So it's my all-time favorite.
Wow, that sounds great. Yeah, and I love your ritual because I feel like so many of us can get just sucked into continually doing work into the night. And it is a good signal that, like, you know what, family time is really important. It's important for your kids. It's important for your marriage.
It is. It is. And sleep should be sacred. Your sleep space should be sacred. You should protect it. I used to feel like I can sleep when I die. It's like a badge of honor. I had 3 hours of sleep last night and look at all I did. Yeah. You'll die young. Well, you might not die young, but you'll die a few years earlier. The studies definitely show that your sleep is very important, and it's a dream time and your brain is rejuvenating. So we also have some CBD products that have some of those sleep herbs in them. CBD can help a lot of people with sleep because it's an adaptogen. Right. We have ashwagandha, which also can help a lot of people with sleep. It definitely nourishes the nervous system, and that can make you more energetic or more able to sleep. So you have to kind of find out where you sit with that. And it's a long-term thing. Sleep spray is like when you need it.
Got it. Amber, thank you so much. And I'm so excited that we are offering our listeners 25% off the entire Garden of Life website. You just have to go to gardenoflife.com, put in the promo code PassportMommy, take 25% off your entire order. And as you know, I'm a huge fan of Garden of Life. I've been recommending all of their products for years, and just talking with Amber, everything I learn, I'm just completely blown away. The foods they use are the cleanest foods and the most nutritionally dense foods possible because they're organic and non-GMO. And their supplements are not trying to mimic nutritional properties of food. They are actually real food. And this is why I love giving everything, and I feel comfortable giving everything to my family. So whether you're looking for vitamin A or zinc or probiotics to protein, just go to gardenoflife.com, type in the promo code PassportMommy for 25% off. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'll talk to you next week.